Welcome to the studio. It's Froyle here and I'm so glad you've joined me. Today I've pulled out my big and beautiful gel elf plate. It's 20 by 16 inches. I absolutely love it. And I have my fabulous favorite Liquitex acrylic spray paint. I've pulled out my Dance Moves stencils. These are the big ones, the original ones that I created with Joggles. And one of my beautiful Patreons, thank you Mark, wanted to find them this week. So he contacted Barb at Joggles and she found some more in the warehouse. So if you didn't get any of these when they were available and you want some, make sure you have a look in the link in the description under the video because Barb will sort you out. She only has a few left, so make sure you jump on it if that's something that you want. I've sprayed it with my Liquitex acrylic spray paint. I'm loving this. Now it does say low odor and it is acrylic based, so it mixes well with all the acrylic paints, but it still has a little smell. You do want to open your door or windows or make sure your workspace is ventilated. You may even want to wear a mask if you're susceptible or allergic to the paint smells. So the stencils are on and you have to wait until they're dry, which doesn't take very long at all before you move on to the next step. Today I've busted out my 100 color pack from Meeden paints. I love these paints. They're absolutely beautiful. They're very buttery. They're a little small in the tubes. That's the only downfall. But the color palettes are absolutely incredible. You don't have to think. You just pick a color out and put it on the plate. That's what I love about it. They're very immediate. You don't have to mix. Oh, they look absolutely beautiful and the range is incredible. Now I'm using my masks for this next layer. The paint's on. Now remember, you do have to wait for each layer to dry in between before you put the next paint layer on. Now I decided to put a few patches of color on my beautiful big plate. Isn't it glorious? Because there's so many colors to choose from. So I put a bit of this and a bit of that, waited for those colors to dry, and then I put another blue-gray on to finally pull the print. The final layer of paint needs to be wet because it's got to dry onto your paper to pull all of those layers up off the gel plate. Now I'm using wet strength tissue primarily because it's the biggest size piece of paper that I've got, but also it's very strong, it's very thin, it works well for collage, it looks fabulous, and it pulls all the paint up. I had a few little sticky bits, but it wasn't too bad. Look how beautiful my paper is. I absolutely love it. Look at the glorious dance move shapes. So much fun. They look amazing with the spray paint. They go on so easy. They pull up just perfect. And you can see the glorious texture of the paint in the beautiful shapes. I love it. It works so well and it's so easy. All of the colors came up. The Meeden paints pull up really well off the plate. Very happy with it. Let's do it again. Now this time I'm starting with my masks, my Dance Moves mask, putting them on the plate first and spraying the spray paint. I know I'm getting a little bit more brave and a little bit more adventurous because the spray paint is now covering the whole plate. I think it's going to work out just fabulous, and when you pull the mask shapes off, ta-da, ta-da, look at the beautiful pattern it leaves behind. So creating more layers now with some paint, beautiful rich colors from my Meeden pack. Oh, so happy to just pick them out and put them on the plate. I put 2 different shades of red and then I put 2 different other colors on as well to pull the print. Again, I'm using the wet strength tissue. The print pulled up absolutely fabulous. I love it. Look at these colors. It's just worked so well. And what I like about this one is because I sprayed it on the whole plate over those masks, you can see in some of these areas the beautiful gold that's created like the overspray pattern on the plate. It worked really well and it came off really easily. Look at the fabulous textures of the spray paint and the Meeden paints in their shapes of the masks. It worked really, really well. I'm loving these prints. I think I like both techniques. I like spraying the stencil shapes on first, but I also really enjoy these mask shapes because of the incredible texture it creates on the background of the plate. And it came off straight away without any problems. It's so exciting because there's so many possibilities of using this spray paint on the plate with different stencils, different techniques, different mark making tools, and you get a fair amount in the can, so as long as it doesn't clog up, you can use it for quite some time. I did have one of the cans clog up recently. I was spraying it on one of my fluid art paintings and my mum come in and she says, I can fix that, because you know she's 82, so she knows everything. So she took the can off me, she went and got a needle and she stuck it down the top of the can with this big needle, right? And paint shot up and it splattered all over my painting, which actually looks really good. Have a look here, you can see the beautiful texture of this painting. It didn't wreck the painting, and I'm like, oh great, you didn't wreck my painting, I'm so happy. But then I said, but look up. There's a splatter of the iridescent gold. Beautiful antique iridescent gold is now splattered on the ceiling. Yes, that's going to leave a mark. I'm really glad that it wasn't me that stuck the needle in the can, because but anyway, you have to try and keep your nozzles clean. But I have noticed if they sit for too long, they do block up. So I recommend using it regularly, because then, you know, it's not going to block up. And don't stick a needle down the top, because it'll shoot up and splatter all over your ceiling. So let's just do one more print. I've got some ideas I really want to try, and I am loving these today. This time I had a brilliant idea. I decided, instead of starting with the stencils, let's start with some Kozo paper, and I put the Kozo paper on the gel plate and sprayed it with the spray paint. Look how good it looks. It's a 2-for-1 deal. Number one, you get the paint through the paper onto the gel plate. But number two, hello, look how beautiful the Kozo paper looks when it's all sprayed up with antique gold. I know. They look amazing right now. This one is my favorite. It's one of the new Kozo papers. Look how beautiful it looks. Even better when it's sprayed with gold. And look at the marks on the gel plate. They look absolutely fabulous. So don't be limited by your stencils, what you have or don't have. Think of other ways you can create those fabulous marks on the gel plate, because this worked out really well. So after the first layer with the beautiful little spots and square shapes, I decided to enhance them with some of the Posca pens in black and white. I put on some white squares, and then I put on some black circles, and that was fun. It draws okay on the gel plate. Didn't mind that idea. Then I decided to use some of my masks just in those shapes in between the areas of the lines of the actual marks. There's some really cool shapes in those textures. So rolled on some paint, few different colors. The colors are endless. It's so much fun. And I'm just building up the layers on the plate to see what kind of really interesting print I can make. Then I busted out one of my foam stamps. You'll find this at PM Artist Studio. My little crosses, I love them. Put them in one of the Bordeaux red, I think it was called, from my Meeden pack, and then put that on the plate as well. The only trouble with this one is that the paint's a little thick. It's going to take a lot longer to dry, and I'm not very patient. I do have a problem with the drying time. I always pull the print off a little bit too soon, and it does stick in places. I'm not too worried because I'm very good at doing touch-ups. So I just fix it later. It's really not a big deal. Meh, it pulls here, it scratches there. It'll be fine. We chop it all up for collage anyway. The crosses look great, but then I decided I wanted some of that beautiful blue-gray color that I put on the first print. I really like it, so I just painted it on the plate, painted out some lines, painted in some areas, added another layer. Oh, it's going to be amazing. Then when that was all dry, I put on one of my favorite colors. I think it's called Cocoa Brown, can't remember. No, it might be Portrait. There's too many to remember. One of the beautiful colors, I put it on for my pickup print. It looks beautiful. Now it did stick a little on the plate because of the thicker paint of my crosses. I know, it's so annoying. I could have waited an extra 10 minutes, but you know how it goes. Anyway, it came up, few little scratches, but look how beautiful it is. I absolutely love it. You can see all of the layers. You can see the first layers of the fabulous mark making from the Kozo paper, and you can see the shapes here from the Posca pens, the circles, the white squares. Then there's the marks in between from the masks that I put on, and of course the red crosses are there as well. The colors look great. I'm liking that gray line that I put. Look at this section here. That section there looks absolutely beautiful. You can see all of the layers and all of the colors. Because I used all the little Meeden paint tubes, they all sit well together. They play happily together. And I'm pretty happy with all my prints. It's been a whole lot of fun. I love using the spray paint with the stencils and the Kozo paper. I mean, you just can't lose. Don't forget, you do have to wait for all of those layers to dry in between, or else it does scratch on the plate. It does get stuck if your paint's a bit thicker, but don't let that worry you. You can do some touch-ups later. Now ask me, what am I going to do with all these beautiful prints? Well, I'm so glad you asked. Am I going to make glorious collage? Well, actually no, because all of these beautiful prints will be heading out to my beautiful patrons in next month's inspiration packs. And I want to send out a big thank you to level 2 of my glorious patrons. I have made these prints especially for you. So the next thing is I hand them off to my mum. She chops them up to size to fit into the envelope. Actually, these will come in the envelope as well, and whatever else I create this week. We send them out every month to the beautiful patrons in level 2. Papers and prints that I've created in my studio, especially during these fabulous videos. It's a lot of fun. We absolutely love it. I hand them off, Mum makes the packs up, and we send them out by the end of the month for the following month. So if you want to join in the fun and you receive some of my beautiful collage papers, fabulous prints that I've just made with my latest obsessions and fabulous techniques, then come and join us on Patreon, and every month you'll receive one in the post. Thank you to my beautiful patrons. I really do appreciate all of your support and encouragement. Thank you for joining me today. I absolutely love these techniques. Don't forget, the Liquitex is the acrylic spray paint, so it's compatible with the other acrylic paints. Works really well on your gel plate. Don't be a little scared. Just don't shove a needle down the top if it gets blocked up. It's been a whole lot of fun. I hope you come back and join me next time in the studio.